Let me begin with the parent. There's a definition between a parent and an adult. So what is an adult? An adult is a person that has reached full maturity, that has reached their strength and their capacity. And then a parent is a protector, the one that is self-sacrificing, that has had children, always putting their children first, always taking the thought, having the thought process of putting their child first in all things, be it social life, be it personal life, or spending. Putting that child first is the role of a parent. And my grandmother couldn't have said it better. And she lived to be 98 years old with 16 children herself. So truly a parent, I will say that. But she said once before that every woman that can have a child is not a mother. And that was so profound with me. It resonated with me even to this point in my life to really think about that. So I want to commend those grandparents, those great-grandparents, godparents, foster care parents, community members and groups and organizations that are supporting our children, that are supporting the well-being of our children. Because without some of those components, our children would suffer even more so. So I commend those organizations. I applaud you for the work that you do to help our children become adults and become future parents. So we want to make sure we're doing our role as parents. So I want to share with you 10 guiding principles that I've used as a parent, and I have 2 girls. And these are some principles that have worked for me to ensure success for my children, but also in the environment as a former teacher, coach, and administrator. These are some of the strategies I've used, and they've been very productive. So if you're not using them, I would strongly encourage you to consider or maybe think about adopting some of these. So the first one, you want to set a goal. You want to set a goal for your child regardless if they are pre-kindergarten, before they even begin to go to school, or even when they go off into college. You want to set a goal, and whatever that goal is, let's just use for example, before your child starts to school, you want them to be able to say their names, at least maybe count, and even have some sight words identified, like he, she, it, does, he, those types of things. So you want to set goals, and you want to read to your child every day. So that would be the very first thing, set goals. Number 2, identify a place to study with your child. Have your child to study in the same place every day, the same time, much as possible. I know we all live a very busy life. We have our kids engaged in different activities, sports, music, swim, different things we do have all of our children going into, or just having our children to go outside and play, or, they may be a latch kid. But identify a place to study every day, the same time, the same place, much as possible. And do know this, even with our kids doing those extracurricular activities, they still have to have that education component to fulfill those other things if they're thinking about going to the next level. So that's critical. Number 3, practice bringing your books home every day. Encourage your kids to bring their books home every day. Why is that important? Because it conditions them to know they need to study every day. Practice that. Number 4, create a support system, be it the grandparents, the Boys and Girls Club, Girl Scouts, siblings, latchkey kids. Make sure there's a support person, even if they have to call and say, listen, I'm home, I've had a snack, and I'm getting ready to do my homework at the kitchen table. So make sure we're providing that support system for our children so that they have some positive reinforcement to support those study habits. Number 5, read every day to your child. Make no excuses. Reading will change their world. Reading exposes them to opportunities that they may not have been exposed to. It takes them to places they've never gone before. So Make sure you're reading to your child, and if they're of age, let them read to you or read to someone in the house or in the household or in an environment that is conducive. Because reading builds those mental muscles that we all should continue to develop even into adulthood. And number 7, practice math every day with your child. There are some great websites. You have Khan Academy, all about math, Purple Math. There are just tons of sites out there to improve the child's ability to master math. As a former athlete, as a professional athlete, I remember the importance of practicing. You never get good without practice. You know, I wasn't the best shooter, but guess what? When I was shooting 1,000 shots, I became a better player. I became a better shooter. So do understand, you'll never get better without practice. Look at prolific athletes. They must put the time in. Look at doctors, surgeons. They have to put the time in to become better. So practice with your children. Number 8, write every day. Be it in a journal, summarize the book you've read. It is important that we write every day. Even if you have a small child, give them some crayon or chalk and let them just scribble on paper. But having those habits in place begins to become habitual, become everyday practices. Number 9, have fun with your child. Laugh, play games, go outside, talk, have an open line of communication, because it is important that you do that. It's a part of their developmental skills, and it will be transferable as they continue to grow. And number 10, tell your child, I love you. And they need to hear that every day. And then just don't tell them you love them, mean that. Tell them, baby, I love you. And my girls now, even, past 20 and 18, we practice those words, even on a phone conversation. I love you, sweetheart. And it gives them meaning. It gives them more purpose. So those are the 10 factors I would strongly encourage any parent. If you're not using those 10 principles, think about doing that, because it builds your child to become stronger, but it teaches habits and conditions the mind, but it also puts habits of excellence in their thought process. And I always say, Aristotle couldn't have said it better. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, it's a habit. Habits of excellence is what we want to instill in our children, but it has to start at home. So I encourage you to take that challenge as we go into the new year. Use those 10 principles. Take a look at the video, play it again. But those 10 principles will change how we do business and how we look at education from a parent perspective. And if you're using some suggestions or recommendations, put them, on the comment section so other parents can share those and begin to use those. I encourage you to be a part of this process. Let's change education, but let's first change the practices at home.